Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is the latest in SNP's way to deal with education, and they're instructing teachers not to call bullies bullies, but do call the cops if it's a hate crime. So in this latest sort of Looney Tunes developments from the SNP, reading out this article from yesterday's Daily Mail, where the headline is, now teachers told, don't call bullies bullies, it'll upset them, but do call cops over hate crimes. Teachers have been told not to use the word bullies to avoid upsetting them, and ordered to call in the police when pupils are suspected of hate crime. Latest guidance from the SNP government aimed at cracking down on bullying highlights the importance of tackling prejudice, including misgendering and microaggressions. This is a term given to an intentional or unintentional casual slight based on race, culture, beliefs, or gender. For example, assuming that someone is foreign born because of their race or name. Staff have been instructed not to label children as bullies or victims, as it can be disempowering. Nobody would want to disempower a bully, yeah, that would be absolutely terrible. And pupil exclusions does not feature in the 57-page document. Exclusions when you get papped out the school. They're not discussed that at all when they're talking about how we're going to have better communities within our schools. Staff have been instructed not to label them. I've done that, sorry. Last night, Education Secretary Jenny GILRUTH was told to get a grip by ditching the wokery and protecting the victims of bullying. Scottish Tory children and young people spokesman Ros McCall said, this guidance might be full of warm words, but it also fails to address the serious issues that our teachers are having to deal with every single day. This is typical of the SNP, who have dithered and delayed as violence has soared in Scotland's schools. It has consequences if we are asking teachers to record incidents based on ideology rather than allowing them to show some common sense and get on with teaching. Separate Scottish Government research published last year found violence, aggression and disruptive behaviour in schools has risen sharply. But the guideline states labelling children and young people as bullies or victims can be disempowering and is unhelpful in supporting them to change their behaviour or in scaffolding their recovery from a bullying experience. However, the guidance states that the nature of some behaviours may constitute criminal offences, and advice should be sought from Police Scotland where there are significant concerns. The document also stresses the importance of recording all incidents and being alert to prejudice as an aspect of bullying, which could then fall foul of hate crime. Bullying of youngsters who identify as trans may be manifested in many different ways, including deliberately misgendering. That'll be when you call a boy who's a boy who wears girls' clothing a boy, right? And I'm not quite sure whether that means that it's bullying or that then tips it into a hate crime, but I can kind of guess. The guidelines also state that it is crucial to help bullies recognise the harm their behaviour causes, repair relationships when possible and desired, and challenge prejudicial attitudes through education and building empathy. Chris McGovern of the Campaign for Real Education said this woke guidance is totally inadequate. The soft and inclusive approach it promotes is more likely to encourage bullies than to deter them. It places children in danger and undermines the authority of hard-pressed teachers facing daily thuggery in classes. Bullying, including online bullying, should be treated as crossing a red line that results in exclusion and, for a second offence, expulsion. Ms. GILRUTH said, I am committed to creating safe, inclusive and supportive environments where children and young people can thrive. I call bollocks on that, Jenny GILRUTH. What you're doing is just coming out with another buzzword-filled paragraph for a newspaper. These words mean nothing. I'm committed to creating safe, inclusive and supportive environments where children and young people can thrive. Let me tell you the safest environment you could possibly create for young people to be supported and safe and inclusive, right? That would be an environment where we don't have bullies. It's no difficult. Bullying is probably one of the worst things kids can have happen at school. And let me tell you a wee story from my own personal experiences. I run a kids football club and I've been involved in kids football for 16 years. And I was shocked one day when a parent came and told me that he thought one of our coaches in my club had saved his child's life because he noticed small differences in his behaviour, which he fed back to the parent. When the parent dealt with it and he took the kids' devices off him, he found out his own child had been searching suicide because he felt it should be his easiest route out because he was being bullied at school. And because of that, we were able to get that child help through his school and also the help of the bully. Now that didn't that wasn't dealt with by not using the word bully and talking to the bully in a way that to help him as well. He'd obviously went through some troubling times in his own that got him to where he was in his head. So it actually helped 2 children. That's only 2 that I know about. And that was a father who's came and told me. I don't know how many times this has went on where people haven't came and told me. But I was a child who was contemplating taking his own life because he was bullied at school. Now, I know for a fact there's lots of kids out there who have went a step further than the one at our club and ended their own lives because of bullying. Bullying is one of the worst things in society, whether it's to children or adults, but obviously it's got a far greater effect on children and a far more disturbing set of possible outcomes when you're discussing children. Now, I don't know about Jenny Gilruth, but I'm quite prepared to guess she doesn't have any children. I have had 2 in my life. I've also been in contact with hundreds, if not thousands, through my endeavours as a volunteer in grassroots football. I've got kind of a better idea than Jenny Gilruth. Regardless of how many buzzwords she's got, regardless of how many courses she's went to, and regardless of what advice she's taken for her made-up NGOs and charities that she calls stakeholders, another useless buzzword. This is a very serious problem that I have, unfortunately, quite a bit of experience with. And coming up with flowery bullshit ways of trying to tackle it will not work. It won't. What we need to empower teachers to have more discipline powers at their disposal. What we keep doing is taking those powers away from them. And that's not just driven by politicians, that's also driven by some adults who are parents in our society. Because we've all seen them moaning at the gates of the school, telling everybody, I've told him not to take that shite off that teacher, and I'll go right through that headmistress's door and blah, 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 blah. Right? So the teachers are not the sole issue here. And I do believe teachers would love to be able to grab folk by the neck sometimes and throw them out the classroom. But we can't be doing that either. But we do need to certainly give them more powers, rather than tell bullies that they're no bullies. Yes, we need to help the bully, but first and foremost, we have to stop children being bullied in our schools throughout the length and breadth of the country, because some of them die because of it. All right? That's pretty serious. Kids die because of bullying, and this stupid excuse of a process trying to get put in place by the SNP government in Scotland is absolutely ridiculous. It will not work. I quite like the thoughts of Chris McGovern of the Campaign for Real Education. This guidance is totally woke and inadequate. Well said, Chris McGovern of the Campaign for Real Education. Right? You seem to have a far better handle on what's needed to get rid of bullying than the crackpots writing the rules. Right? So, stop your bullshit. Stop sitting in wee committee meetings talking to your wee pals and the quangos that you create and fund. to give you the answers you want. And I don't mean this in a bad way. There's lots of people I know that don't have children that are very, very good with children. They understand children. But it's a queer fact of life that people who have children or people who work with children have got a better understanding about children than those who don't. Okay? That's just common sense. Common sense and logic is a thing of value, an asset that is very, very short demand in Hollywood, and that needs to change. Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed the video or its content, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe button and notification. Please give me your comments below. I would really like to hear your opinions on these idiotic plans. But most importantly of all, unless you're the SNP, the crackpots that they have in ministerial roles, or the ever-decreasing number of cult members they have in their following, not you, but
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.